you think about the race right now? It's getting very tight, isn't it? Because we're seeing now in many of the states now, even the polls, they're stating that between Trump and Harris, there's a very, very small margin. What do you think of that?
Well, I think this was bound to be the result from the beginning. I believe it would have been the same if it was President Biden. The country is pretty much divided almost equally. I would say there's 46% of the people who would support any Democrat against Trump, and there's 46% of the population that would vote for Trump against anybody. So that leaves a very small margin of about 8% of voters who are going to decide, the next president of the United States. And I think we're going to be looking at a lot of disenfranchised voters. And what I mean by that are people who consider themselves not being heard by current politicians who want to make a change. And I think we're going to see independents having a greater influence on this outcome than either people who are registered Republican or Democrat.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what I said in the introduction of this segment. Now, talking about fundraisers and talking about people with influence, Elon Musk has obviously been very vocal about his support to Mr. Donald Trump. What do you think his impact could lead to in this election race?
Well, we should also start by saying Elon Musk's $75 million is not the largest donation to the Donald Trump campaign. Miriam Adelson,
right,
just today topped over $100 million in donations to different Trump PACs and the campaign. And on the other side, for the Vice President Harris's campaign, George Soros has donated well over $130 million to his various charitable organizations and directly to the campaign too. But what makes Elon Musk stand out is the fact that he's willing to stand on a stage with former President Trump and jump up and down and show that he is 100% behind President Trump, former President Trump, and his re-election bid.
Now, let's talk more about the swing states. Obviously, swing states, they determine the outcomes of the elections. Now, there are seven swing states in 2024 now. What do you think is going to happen? Obviously, all eyes are going to be on Pennsylvania and Michigan. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think we've seen where each campaign believes the importance of those two states falls. Just earlier this week, both Harris and former President Trump were, in fact, Vice President Harris and former President Trump were in Pennsylvania campaigning, both on different sides of the state, of course. But that state is very important to both campaigns, as is Michigan. And the Michigan push, I believe, leans more Democrat, with the current administration in Michigan being a Democratic heavy administration there from the governor. And Pennsylvania, I think, is more of a toss-up. We've seen also the current Democratic senator from Pennsylvania come out not in favor of Vice President Harris, but also somewhat in support of former President Trump. I think specifically because of the Israeli issue.
Do you think foreign policy is going to play a role in this election? It's not really quite the case with U.S. presidential elections. I mean, foreign policy does not really determine what voters are going to say.
It does a little bit, especially amongst the MAGA Republicans. And it's not specifically support for one country over another, except that I believe the MAGA Republicans do support Israel 110% and would like to see that continue, but they do not support further funding of Ukraine. And I think on that level, when you start talking about the MAGA ideas of isolationism and America first, that's where we're going to see foreign policy rear its head as an issue, is more of along the lines of an America first position, which is usually held by most of the MAGA supporters of former President Trump.